Hello and welcome wherever you are in the world. Log On is an online magazine of the Spiritual School of the Golden Rosy Cross. We hope that our podcast will provide you with food for thought, inspiration for new questions and impulses in your research for new answers.
Every person aspires to a fullness of life. Many seek happiness and fulfillment through experiences to give meaning to their lives. But there comes a time when the desire to achieve outer goals diminishes and the focus shifts to inner development. The start of this inner search can be attributed to the fact that the realization of the goals pursued in life does not yield the expected results, or it can be in reaction to a personal crisis caused by a major destabilization event, such as a burnout, an illness, or a divorce. From this inner knowledge and experience, a growing desire is born to live in such a way that the inner being, the soul, can develop. The person then decides to undertake a path of spiritual renewal and becomes aware that the decisions and actions are necessary to follow this new path. Each era brings its own challenges and experiences that the human being has to overcome, but at the same time, there are always great opportunities for fulfillment and true liberation. Our existence in this world is only possible through processes of vital exchange and energy transformation. We constantly assimilate forces from the cosmos, which we transmute and from which we live. This assimilation of energies is carried out by the chakras. The chakras are energy transformers that maintain the link between the physical body, the etheric body, and the astral body of our personality. They regulate the energy exchanges so that all vital processes can take place correctly. Their function is to attract various astral forces and transform them into ethers. The assimilated energies are then distributed throughout the body by the etheric body, the nervous circuits, and the glands with internal secretion, thus determining the life state of the human system. The personality is thus included in a metabolism of a perishable nature. Since time immemorial, the human being has moved away from the original foundations of life to pursue his own development. Thus, the chakras, which were originally energy centers that assimilated and transmuted the divine forces, began to invert their rotation and integrate much lower vibratory levels of the perishable world. The human being is a prisoner of this. However, he has kept the memory of this divine kingdom in the heart of his being, which pushes him to search for the path that would bring him back to it. And he must realize that he still has the possibility of traveling this path of liberation. He must also learn to look at life from the principle of the immortal soul, because the inner path of liberation begins with the awakening of the spiritual core, the spirit spark, or the rose of the heart, present in a latent state at the center of the microcosmic system. This divine energy potential contains the entire plan of return. From the divine spark, impulses are constantly emanating that touch the consciousness so that it becomes aware of its true mission. The path proposed by the spiritual school of the Golden Rosy Cross is a path of self-initiation. This process involves the divine principle, the spirit spark, not to cultivate or improve our personality, but to radically change our egocentric consciousness and allow the spiritual consciousness, the new soul, to manifest itself. By activating and consolidating this principle, we pave the way for the restoration of the original man. The personality alone cannot accomplish this process. A spiritual element is indispensable. Through the vivification of the divine spark and within the protective field of a mystery school, it is possible to bring the chakras to rest and eventually reverse their rotation so that they assimilate on the vibratory level the pure ethers of the divine nature. In this way, a calming of the energy currents in the chakra system is initiated, which is the first condition for the transfiguration of the entire being. Only when a completely new metabolic process and a new etheric assimilation takes place can there be real inner liberation. The whole system of the human being must undergo the process of liberation from imprisonment, from imperfection, and from suffering. On this path, not only the thoughts, feelings, and will change, but also the body system. Driven by a deep inner desire, the reactivation of the spirit spark releases a force of light that rises from the heart sanctuary to the head sanctuary. From there, through sustained orientation, powerful processes of preparation and transmutation take place in the forehead chakra. From this activity, the new soul can be born in the fourth brain cavity. The liberating understanding of the path, the new thinking, and a new activity of the will develop accordingly. This concentration of the light force then moves downward through the right cord of the sympathetic nervous system, purifying and regenerating the activity of the chakras and the corresponding internal secretory glands. First, the light touches the forehead chakra, then successively the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sacral plexus, and the root chakra. The spiritual forces received through the spirit spark thus flow from the head to the end of the spine in the sacral plexus. It is not the I personality that opens the door of the sacral plexus, but the forces of light that penetrated and neutralize the karma that is concentrated there. The sum of all the experiences accumulated by the microcosm in the form of magnetic points in our microcosmic firmament is called karma. All thoughts, words, and deeds are recorded and will determine future actions and vital manifestations in our lives. It is these experiences that lead us to question the purpose of our lives and to seek a path that will free us from the wheel of birth and death. The one who perceives on the path in total offering to the Christic light has the power to overcome all that is accumulated in the sacral plexus. There can only be true liberation when all karmic ties are neutralized. When this struggle is successfully completed, the light force of the rose moves up the left sympathetic cord, and the chakras in turn receive a strong impulse. The light force then reaches its starting point in the fourth brain cavity and then pierces through the crown chakra, which is connected to the pineal fire circle. There, the union of the new soul and the spirit is accomplished. This liberating circuit of light in the pineal circle is a crowning achievement, for the renewed Ed sanctuary radiates a golden color. This radiance of a new mental body is represented in many Christian paintings by a halo. The process leading to transfiguration can continue. A new body, a subtle nature is formed from the original pure ethers, assimilated by the renewed chakras. The whole system is ignited by the fire of renewal. Matter is transmuted and unity is restored. Man, soul, spirit is reborn. This powerful and unique process can take place in all those who consciously direct the course of their lives to the development of the immortal soul. More and more people are beginning to live from this unity consciousness because the human system and the corresponding consciousness are now capable of it. At first, the process is to prepare and purify the personality system. But when the new soul begins to act, it serves mankind and humanity so that they can begin the path to liberation. When the new soul is united with the spirit, it can only live in these high vibrations. At this level, the human being consciously renounces all forms of self-centeredness. Oriented to the light, he lives from the light. the path and the goal of his life become one: the liberation of the divine soul from the chains of matter.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you wish to support us in reaching more people, like our posts, rate us with 5 stars on iTunes, leave a positive comment where you can, or share our content on your social media.